What's up, guys? Eric here with MajorLeagueTrading.com, coming at you with a video here talking about the S&Ps on a historic day. It is Monday, March 16th, 2020 here, and we've got the S&Ps down about 10% on the day. Crazy moves. We hit the lock limit down in the overnight session for Sunday, pretty much like 15 minutes into the day. We stayed lock limit down all night long, and that's what happens when the markets reach a 5% threshold in the overnight session being from 6 o'clock Eastern until 9:30 a.m. So if we take a look here in the S&Ps, you guys can see where that actually ended up taking place right there at 25, 55, 50s. You can see we just could not go below that level. That's a circuit breaker that's in place, quote unquote, to kind of save the markets, if you will. And it did its job all the way up until 9:30 this morning. 9:30 this morning. We opened up at 25.01 quarters or 0150s there, and you can see there's a little level right there, 25.0150s. That was the next line in the sand, the next circuit breaker at 7%. That one triggered, and when that happens, we have to close for 15 minutes, and then you can see we reopened here at 9:45s there, and the market gap down and almost traded this 13% circuit breaker down here of 23.39s on the day. Which would have been just absolutely insane. Not that this move isn't already insane enough, but we've got a lot of things going on with this market. And I would be really surprised if we don't come down and test this 23.50 level that we traded today. You know, you can see we rallied up. I had 25.3650 as a resistance level for the day. We ended up rallying up, testing that level. Highs of the day being 25.4850s. We pushed 12 points through a level. The range on the day here for the S&Ps, we'll go ahead and maximize this so you can see range on the day being 198 and 50 points. That's a big range. So when we're used to like 18, 22 point ranges and we're looking at like, 2 to 3 points, a point through a level push, that's the same as in this market where we're getting, 10 and 15 points pushes through levels. So 25.3650 acted as good resistance on the day. Ended up taking us lower here. Almost got new lows on the day. But the big thing that I did here today is I didn't touch the S&Ps. I didn't touch the Nadex. I didn't do any of that. I focused on some individual equities: Apple, Tesla, Google, Boeing, and Disney. So 5 names. 3 of those I'm going to be holding for swing. And then 3 of those I had day traded inside of that as well. And I used actual shares again. Now, I put a post up on my Instagram a couple days ago talking about how I traded actual shares for the first time in a long time on some names here, and I got a lot of questions as to why. And the reason right now is that in this market, with the VIX at $83, the options markets are just absolutely expensive. There's no other way to put it, right? We're used to a VIX that's like, around 15 to 20. Maybe we spike to 25. Sometimes we get over 30 on a quick little, flush. But normally the VIX is a fraction, like 20%, 15% of where it's at right now. We're looking at an $83 VIX. Vol's at an all-time high. We're not all-time high quite yet, but really, really close. So in this type of situation, what I like to do is look to trade the actual shares, and I use the same exact strategies that I would if I'm trading the options market. So for today, one of the things that I traded here was Apple. So if we go to Apple, we go to a 1-minute chart here, and I'll break this down. Again, I was looking for the circuit breakers to get hit in the pre-market session, so I was not expecting to trade right off the 9:30 open either way. But, and the reason being is because even though the S&P futures can't trade, the SPY ETF, which is the ETF of the S&P 500, that was showing a larger gap down than the 7% number. So again, I assumed and figured, okay, boom, we're going to hit the circuit breaker on the S&Ps. They're going to halt trading for a little while, and we can go ahead and wait the extra 15 minutes to start looking at some positions. So the first thing I did here on the day was trade Apple. So I pulled screenshots here from the Thinkorswim platform, and these are my fills here today in Apple. So I traded 300 shares of Apple. It's a $240 stock, call it $250 for easy numbers. So every 100 100 shares is about $25,000. So I had $75,000 into Apple on the day. Now, I was in this trade for 20 minutes. But again, most of my positions in the options market are not $75,000 worth of a position here, right? If I'm looking to trade Apple, again, 100 shares is $25,000. I traded 300 shares. I can do the same thing on a normal day, not today, but on a normal day, I can control essentially the same notional value, the same dollar for dollar move with around $1,000 for Apple, sometimes even less, right? If I can pick up the at the money options for $2, I can pick up 5 of those. That gives me about 250 deltas. This one gives me about 300 deltas, right? And again, if you don't know what all that means with options and things like that, that's completely fine. The big thing here is you want to focus on the mechanics that you're trading and following your rules. It doesn't matter whether you're trading stocks, options, futures, Forex, whatever the case is. You want to follow the chart. The chart's telling you what it is you want to do. So for me on the day here, that was Apple. I had 241.96 marked up. I had 256.61 marked up. And again, in this type of market, a little bit of a push through, a little bit of push above, it's not. You gotta give it that room. It's gonna need it in this type of volatility. So we saw Apple open up down here and push instantly right back up through this 241.96 level there. So not even 25 seconds after Apple reopened there for 9:45, I went ahead and started stepping in there. I got filled 242.78s, 242.86, 242.86 is there, and then instantly I started taking some off as we started pushing into new highs. So I took a quick little scalp there on the first 100 shares of Apple. You can see 44 got filled there and then 56. That's the first 100 shares. And then from there, I took off another 50, 245.88s. And then from there, I started getting filled on some stop losses there. I have 150 shares left, 248.23s, 249.65s, and then 248.24s there for the rest, right down in here at 10.04s there. So all in all on the day, Apple here was good for a little over $1,000 on the day. Again, trading 300 shares of this, which is not the norm. That's, again, I keep saying that. We're in unusual market volatility times. And I don't actually know what the options did in here today. I looked at them earlier and I saw that they were super, super expensive. And I figured that was going to be the case again today with the VIX and, the insane market gap down. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to worry about the options first thing in the morning. I can focus on the shares. And that's what I did here in Apple. Now, another position that I picked up here is Tesla. So we'll switch over to Tesla here. I do have a swing trade on in Tesla here. But Tesla, you can see P&L on the day about $1,587 there. Again, I'm holding, I took some actual shares for $1,632.50. And then I got some P&L open right now of about $45 for a swing trade in there. It's kind of a pinning play and option strategy that I like to use. And I was testing some prices in there and it ended up getting filled. So again, I'm okay with that risk. Gives me some upside protection here. We are into triple witching. So there's a lot of things coming together this week. I don't know if this trade will hit. If it doesn't, that's fine. I've got about $160 worth of risk in it. You can see, it's down $45 right now. But ended up making, $1,632 on the stock today. And the way that I managed and traded this one here is you can see I had some levels marked up on the chart today for Tesla. The bottom level here being 444.70 there. That was my bottom level for Tesla on the day. I didn't think we were going much through that, if anywhere. So what I ended up doing here in Tesla was trading 200 shares of stock. And you can see what I ended up doing, 953.04. As we came down right into this level, we started to bounce. As soon as we started trading back off that 444.70 level, we're about 60 cents off of it. I went ahead and stepped in there, 445.32. That was all the reaction I needed to see. And then later on, about 10 seconds later, we'd already ripped about $4 in Tesla here. So I went ahead and stepped in and bought a little bit more there at 449s. And you can see as Tesla was ripping up 449.39s was my entry right in through here. And again, what I'm looking at there is the fact that Tesla is potentially taking out kind of this area right in through here, about 448.50s, 448.60s. I can see that that's, you know, potential rally and then the sell. So on the 1 minute chart, as we started coming back up through that level, I went ahead and just hit market, took that in. You can see I got filled there. 449.39s in Tesla. And then right away, about 30 seconds after that, I went ahead and took some off there. 453.04s. I got filled on 100 shares for a limit. And then I ended up taking off the rest of the 100 shares here on a stop out. Some of it just shortly after 10 o'clock, and then the rest here at 10:03 once this market started breaking down there. So took some off here on a test. This was at 10 o'clock, 458.38. So I was looking to see if Tesla could hold this 459.99 level. We had rallied up, tested the opening print. I wanted to give it some room if it could get up to 475s. So I went ahead and put a trail stop in there, 458.38. That ended up triggering there just by a little bit at 10 o'clock there on the move down. Again, hoping it would hold or looking for it to hold this 459.99s and continue to push. But as you can see, it trailed out there, and the rest of it trailed out down in here at 457.62s there at 10:03s. So really breaking down these trades and kind of you know, trying to portray what it is and tell what it is that I'm looking at, the psychology I'm thinking through as these things are moving in real time is rather difficult. Going back here, taking a look at the trades, looking at and journaling and going, okay, here's why I did that, here's why I did that, and really talking through those. So that's what I did there in Tesla. The other thing I did here, again, I picked up the butterfly there for the 500 calls. That's this week's expiration for 16 cents. Again, that's got $160 worth of total risk on it. I'm completely fine if that goes to zero and Tesla does not get up to 500 bucks on the week. Again, I'll be completely fine with that. So overall, about 1,600 bucks on the day there for Tesla. And then last but not least here is Google. And Google here was a little bit of a smaller trade, good for $821.03 on the day there for Google. And I only traded this with 50 shares here in Google. Now, I'm going to go back here a little bit and I'll bring the chart over, or the fills over in just a second. But this one I really want to go through, you know, kind of what it is, the psychology I was thinking as each one goes. Again, I can do really deep breakdown analysis on each one of these with each candle and why I'm doing it. But then this video would be, you know, 2 hours long here for YouTube, and I'm trying to keep the time a little bit limited on that. But what I'm looking at here in Google, I had a level in the day 1102.81s, and I ended up going long here on Google 1091.05s there. So again, on the Tesla position, that's a $400 and some stock. So I had about $90,000 that I put into that trade. The Apple position was about $75,000. The Google position here, we're looking at about $50,000. And again, these are all much larger. Like you can see the size difference: 300 shares, 200 shares, 50 shares. The size difference is because of the capital allocation and the risk per trade. I'm trying to size that and keep everything appropriate, given that I can't trade the actual stock or can't trade the actual options on the stock because of the volatility. I'm trading the actual stock and trying to make those shifts and things on the fly. So what I did here in Google is I picked up 50 shares at 10.20.24. And if we look here, right there is 10.20.24, 10.20 in the middle of that bar somewhere. I got filled at 1091.05s. And basically what I was looking at in here is the fact that Google had come up, test 1102.81s, pulled back, traded about a penny away from its 1089.61 opening print level there. That is one of the most important levels in the day for any stock, anything, right? If you're trading the S&P futures, if you're trading Google, if you're trading Apple, the opening print for that particular stock, indice, gold, crude, whatever, is one of the most important levels on the day, and I have it on every single one of my charts when I'm looking to trade these names. And that's what I used to take this position here in Google today. So Google ended up coming down, looking like it was going to test 1089.61s. It had already tested 1102.81s twice. It was now pulling back to its support level in the day. I had a support level lining up with the Nasdaq. I was looking for a bounce in this market to kind of recheck some of those highs and then a potential dump. I talked about that in the Discord chat room. That is, in fact, what we ended up doing. So I ended up, instead of just working a limit here in Google, I saw that we had come down, we had traded this level, we got a small little reaction there, and as we got that little reaction there, I went ahead and clicked the button and got filled on this bar right here at 1091.05s, and then from there I started to scale out of this position. Now, what I ended up doing here, I got out of some here at 1026.42s here, 1103.50s. Again, my level is 1102.81s. I was watching to see if we were just going to bust right through this level. We started printing up here 1103 50s right there, and I went ahead and said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and take some off right here. Took off half, closed 25 shares. That left me with 25 shares on, and then you can see I trailed that out 5, 10, and 10, 1030, 1034, 1037. So at 1030 here, right there, you can see I ended up taking off a little bit more there, 1106 75s right up in through here. So right, what I did here is I let the market push up. I wanted to see if we could go ahead and kind of pop up through to new highs. Went ahead and took off 5 shares there. That was new highs on the day for Google. That was a limit. And then as we continue to push here, 1034s, we pushed up here into 1112.41s, and if we zoom back on this chart just a little bit here, you can see that right in through here, 1034, right in through there at about 1112 and change. That was coming up right into yesterday, being Friday's low of the day from back in here at 1112.29. So I went ahead and took a little bit off there, 1112.41s, being that we were pushing up into that prior low of day. And then from there, I went ahead and let this market continue to push higher, set a stop in place here, I ended up doing a market order, but I had a mental stop in place here if we could push back under that level there, and at 1037.58, we ended up doing that here on this red bar right there, and I'm like, okay, let me do that, on this red bar right there, and I said, okay, it looks like we're going to push back under those low of day from Friday. Time for me to go ahead and exit this position, and went ahead and clicked the market order on that. So was doing kind of a manual trail stop necessarily, didn't use the platform for that. Prices were moving quite a bit, but yeah, so it ended up working out nicely on the day. Again, a little over 3,500 bucks on the day, and I'm also holding a position here in Boeing. So Boeing, I am sitting on a 100 put butterfly for the end of the week. You can see this position's up a little bit right here. Again, 10 contracts on this. So looking for a move down to 100 bucks on Boeing here, potentially by the end of the week. You can see 129.61, so 30 points away, not too far away. And then I'm also holding a bullish position here in Disney. I think Disney held up really, really well today, and looking for this to make a move to $100 for the week. These are not quoted right at all. I had this trade on for like a 40 cent average, so my max risk is about 80 bucks. So one of these options is quoted off compared to where it should be here at the close. But total risk in the position is only like 80, 90 bucks. So I'm not down $249 in this position. But again, same thing, $3 wide butterfly here, looking for a move up to $100 in Disney. So anyways, a lot of things to cover. Again, trying to give you guys the quick and simple version of what it is I was looking for there and the levels that I had outlined for the day on these 3 stocks that I did some day trades on. And again, I'm holding positions in Tesla, Boeing, and Disney here for the end of the week. It is monthly options expiration. It is triple witching. These markets are absolutely crazy. I hope you guys are really doing well. In these times, it's super volatile. There's a ton of opportunities, but if you know how to take advantage of them, then they're really very nice. So even just using a couple hundred shares of actual stock here, they've been treating me really, really well here. And that's how I'm adapting to this high VIX volatility situation. And then I'm also going to be looking to leg out and sell some premium here going in probably Wednesday, Thursday here for this week, given that we do have monthly options expiration coming up on Friday. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it was a long one. Hopefully it was filled with tons of value and you guys were able to pull some information from that. If you guys have any questions, comments, things like that, negative feedback, positive feedback, feel free to leave that in the comment section beneath this video. Give me a thumbs up on this video as well and click that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.